Hey, I'm Emma Davis, the social worker, and yes, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Yesterday, I'll be telling you about violence and her choices. And yes, at the end of the video, I will be sharing a tip on how you can make the right hard choices. And for children, I will be sharing a trick on how to control your emotions so that you do not make the wrong hard choices. Yes, if you still send your parents home, yes, you do not have to always make the wrong choices. You have to know how to control your emotions because our parents most times can really get annoying, but if you know how to control your emotions, you can know how to live with your parents who are annoying. So that is what I'll be sharing with you today. And yes, I'm begging you to please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Yes, like my videos and comment. Yes, comment. This is a social community, so we thrive so much on your comment. We thrive so much on your feedback. Yes, we want to hear your story. We want to hear your experience. Yes, we want to feel you engaged. Yes, because we are a social community. So yes, I've been reading around this book. As you can see, it's called Her Choices by Hillary Clinton. Yes, we know Hillary Clinton. She was the first lady of the US sometime back. And yes, she talks about her choices. She talks about how she has had to make her choices throughout her life journey. Yes, she has thrived on her choices. Basically, that's what she's trying to tell us in this book. The book is filled with her choices by Hillary Clinton, but of course, in my perspective, there is no such a thing as an easy choice or a simple choice. So I feel like all the choices we make in life are hard choices. Yes, they are hard choices. So I don't know about you. You can tell us in the comment section. You can share with us in the comment section if you think there are easy choices that you make. If you think there are simple choices that you make, you can share with us your choices, your simple choices in the comment section. But trust me, you will be surprised what you may call a simple choice or an easy choice. So let us dig into our hard choices by Hillary Clinton. So I came across this hard choice. Let me read it for you. But no matter how wronged one might feel, and no matter how wronged one might feel, resorting to violence is never justified. No matter how wronged you may feel, resorting to violence may never be justified. So this is when we come back to our African home. This is a very hard choice. It's a very hard choice. For example, in the case of parents, it's a very hard choice for our parents because violence is the way to go. Violence is the form of discipline in an African home. So it will become a very hard choice to parents if you tell them not to resort to violence because that is what they know. That is the best mode of discipline that they know. So it will become a very hard choice for them. But as Hillary Clinton has said, but no matter how wronged one might feel, yes, our dear parents, no matter how wronged you might feel, never resort to violence because violence is never justified. Violence is never justified. So violence is never justified because violence is permanent. Yes, violence is permanent. It creates a permanent scar on the person, on the child in this case. For example, the child already has the wound of the punishment, but then if the punishment goes beyond, the expected punishment, it becomes brutal. It becomes violence and it becomes permanent. It becomes permanent. And yes, violence can never be justified because it leads to more negative consequences than solutions. So violence is all about, more consequences, negative consequences. It's all about inflicting. It's all about permanency. So it's not a solution. So parents who love violence, parents who love punishing brutally, that is not a solution. Violence is never a solution, but it is a permanent scar. It creates a permanent scar on the child. Yes, it creates wounds that with permanent scars. So it is very hard to grow up in an African home because you are going to experience all the forms of violence. Yes, most likely you are going to experience all the forms of violence, like physical violence, emotional violence, psychological violence, even collective violence. Yes, collective violence. Can you imagine your family teaming up against you? That is brutal violence. That is collective brutal violence. Your family teaming up against your parents, teaming up against you, your siblings teaming up against your relatives, the entire family teaming up against your friends. So this is the collective violence I'm talking about. The entire family calls you Mama Kavuyo. Your siblings call you Mama Kavuyo. Your parents call you Mama Kavuyo. When you go to family gatherings, they're going to know, yes, that is Mama Kavuyo. So everyone, the entire culture, the entire clan knows you as Mama Kavuyo. That is violence. that is collective violence, that is emotional violence, that is psychological violence. And I know most of you, I know some of you grew up with these nicknames, with these ugly labels. And yes, yes, you can tell us in the comment section what was your experiencing these ugly labels. Mama Kavuyo, being called Mama Kavuyo. That's so many weird labels that that parents love to inflict on the children. But of course, as you know, these being called such names, the child is going to grow up with low self-esteem. Yes, the child is going to grow up with low self-esteem, with trauma. I feel like these things are so traumatizing. Depression, of course, anxiety. It is very easy for such a child to grow up with all these forms of, all these negative forms of these negative disorders. And also, of course, when you label a child that, you are demeaning them, and you are actually putting a picture, an ugly image onto the child. Mother of chaos. So everywhere the child goes, she's being known as mother of chaos. But what your family may not understand, what the relatives may not understand, you are doing this in form of fun, but it is inflicting a permanent scar onto the child. But yes, the child, of course, the child may be an easy description about the child, that mother of chaos or Mama Kavuyo. That could be an easy description of that child because of their character. But as a social worker, and I want you to learn this, I want you to know this, that that child may be stubborn. Yes, you may think the child is stubborn. You may think the child is what, full of chaos. But no, we do not call children stubborn. In social work language, we say that is a unique child, a child with a unique character, or an active child, not a stubborn child. That child is just unique. They have a unique character, and they have an active character. So stop labeling your children, please, because of their character, because of their immediate characters. But I just said this. I have a unique child, I have a unique daughter. I have an active child. Yes, use languages like active, because this child you are calling mother of chaos, Mama Kavuyo, this is just an active child. Very active, and that is a very unique behavior. So you just have to learn, to let the child learn how to use that language, that behavior, to benefit themselves and to benefit the people around them, because that is who they are. So if you keep on labeling them those ugly names, Mama Kavuyo, mother of chaos, they're going to grow up being Mama Kavuyos. They're going to grow up bringing chaos wherever they are, because that's how I grew up. That was very normal when I was growing up. So I can do it anytime soon. So the parent, you may just punish your child brutally, and you think that is okay. So I remember back then, that's something actually back then. Now in an African home, it's very common. Let me tell you about violence in an African home. It is very common for a parent to tie you up on a tree an entire day, to tie you up like not even like an animal, to restrain you, to tie you around that tree for an entire day. That is very normal. It is very normal in an African home for a parent to pour on you hot water as a form of punishment. That is very normal. So what kind of punishment, what kind of crime, what kind of offense has the child committed to deserve being burnt by hot water, or being burnt by fire itself? So I don't know why parents go that extreme end to create such violence on their children. But as I have told you, and no matter how wronged you may feel, no matter how wronged you may feel as a parent, I never resort to violence, because violence is never justifiable. Yes, your children will talk about you, they will talk about you. Anange, our mothers used to burn us, our mothers used to tie us up, our mothers used to, our mothers used to do all the ugly stuff to us as a form of punishment. And most commonly, such children grow up wanting to do the same to their subordinates. Those are the reasons why we face high rates of domestic violence, because now this boy has grown up, because he was being mistreated. It feels like it's very normal to do the same to his family, to the wife. So dear parents, what you do now is going to inflict on that child later in their later age, when they also become parents, because that's what they know. That's what they're going to do, because that's the only thing they know. They know that if someone commits a petty crime, no matter the crime, actually, no matter the magnitude of the crime, petty or big, I just burn them with hot water, just burn them with fire, just tie them up and burn them up, just deny them food for 2 days. just deny them food. That's also another ugly form of violence. Denying children food because they've done something petty. So so violence is really not the solution. It is just another mode of it's creating another character into your child, into the person. It's creating another personality into a person. So please, parents and families, yes, and relatives, please never resort to violence. Never resort to violence. Even leaders, wherever you are, you may not be a parent, you may be a child, even my dear child, my dear friend, and never resort to violence. Yes, your mother can come and punish you, and you may not like it, and then you also go and punish that dog. Then that dog will also go and punish the chicken. So it becomes a cycle of violence from the father to the mother to the child to the animals, to the wherever it becomes a cycle of violence. So those are the negative consequences of violence, that it can become a cycle from the father, from the largest to the smallest. So basically, never resort to violence in whatever you do. Never resort to violence. So here's the tip about making the right hard choices. So never make the choice based on your current emotions. That is because you will be feeding your current egos. So basically, you may feel hungry now and you make a wrong hard choice. So you just have to calm down. Give it 5 minutes. Calm down, and you will be able to make the right choices. So basically, make the choices that your future self is going to thank you for. Yes, you just have to hold on for at least 5 minutes, and yes, your future self will thank you for making the right choices. And so this is the trick to the children about controlling their emotions, so that they do not make the wrong hard choices towards their parents maybe. So if you are a child and you feel your parents have annoyed you, you just have to take a glass of water. Yes, take a glass of water, but don't swallow it up. And so every time you feel like you want to say something back to your parent, yes, the water in your mouth will hold your emotions back. Yes, it will keep your emotions in check. And yes, that is how you will survive for that moment. Yes, take the water and you give it like 5 minutes. One thing about emotions, one thing about the ego, it just comes, it's temporary, it comes and goes. It comes and goes. So to avoid further emotions, to avoid further arguments, to avoid further violence, please just hold on a little, so that your emotions stop feeding your ego, and yes, you will not be angry anymore, maybe, and that is how you will have made the right hard choice. Yes, even keeping quiet is a hard choice. That is a very hard choice, because most of us in our African homes, when our African parents are really getting on our nerves, all that we be thinking about is grabbing them, pouring out and saying it all. But in most cases we keep quiet. Yes, in most cases we control our emotions. We do not feed our emotions to our egos. So we relax, we calm down, and yes, in the next 5 minutes, yeah, we are good. Yes, we act like parents, and the parents act like the children. Yes, that's what I love most from an African child. In most cases, the child acts like the parent, and the parent acts like the child, because the child acts mature. They can control their emotions, and maybe out of fear, because of fear they control their emotions. But then the parents don't really know how to control their emotions. So their emotions feed their egos. That is why the parent will make hard choices most times. They resort to violence. They want to punish you, they want to discipline you, but then the punishment is violence. So basically, parents maybe don't know how to balance up their emotions. So that was it for today. Thank you for keeping up. Thank you for being here till the end. And I do love you very much. Emma Davis, the social worker.